All right, hey, once again, everyone, it's Thursday evening. It's time for the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. Weather for Weather Geeks here from the home office. Been doing a lot of these videos from home, kind of keeping my distance as much as possible from our downtown studios. There are some things that just have to be done at the station, but as much as I can do from home, I will continue to do so for as long as need be. And well, it was a nice morning to be at home this morning and not out on the roads. We had just enough snow and just enough black ice this morning that there were some problems on area roadways very early in the day. We picked up 0.7 inches worth of snow at the Youngstown Warren Airport. 2.2 is the number for April now, and we had no measurable snow at the Youngstown Warren Airport in the month of March. Now we've had 2.2 inches. In April, we're going to add to these totals, of course, coming up tomorrow with winter's last hurrah. Temperatures struggled, of course, again today. We did 41 this afternoon, 3 consecutive chilly days with highs in the 40s this week, and we're running 1.5 degrees below average. Not many times have I shown this calendar view of any month recently in which we've been below average temperature-wise. Last November was our last cooler than average month, and when April comes out in the wash, it may end up as a little bit cooler than average. All right, again, we had a little snow last night. We had some slick spots here and there this morning. The thing you're going to notice on this time lapse from Columbia, and keep an eye on the snow on the grassy surfaces. It sure did not last long, and that's despite cold temperatures this morning. That strong April sun did its magic, and there it goes. And in places that had an inch or so worth of snow on the ground, it was kind of the same idea. That snow vanished pretty quickly despite it being a pretty cold day. Today we've been talking a lot about the sun angle lately here in mid-April. The sun is as strong or as high in the sky now as it is in late August, so snow does not stand much of a chance. This afternoon we had pretty innocuous weather with a mix of sun and clouds and a chilly breeze. We had a sprinkle and a flurry in spots, but a lot of this was having a hard time reaching the ground. There was a layer of dry air in the lowest couple of thousand feet of the atmosphere. So a lot of this was virga. You could kind of see it in the distance. You could see the precipitation falling out of the clouds from a distance, but it was evaporating mostly before it came down to the ground. All right, here's our next weather maker. It's a warm front that's moving through the middle of the country, and this is what's going to spread snow our way as we head through Friday. So we want to talk, of course, a lot about what's going to happen on our Friday. I think the snow will get underway not at daybreak, but probably a couple of hours after. Our model might be a little bit slow here, but I think it's going to be snowing just about everywhere by 10, 11 o'clock at the latest, and maybe even as early as 8:39 in some of our Ohio counties. It may take a little longer, of course, in western PA. Now, this will be snow as it comes in. But then, as we've been talking about, a transition over to some mixed precipitation and even just rain is going to occur as we get into the afternoon. We're going to be close to that rain-snow line for a lot of the day. I think it's going to keep snowing for a good chunk of the day in northern Trumbull, northern Mercer counties. The closer you are to I-80, I think we're going to see some mixing and maybe even just a changeover to rain at some point before the afternoon is through. And then certainly once you're down into Mahoning County and especially down into Columbiana County, you're going to see a transition to rain at some point. It's just a matter of how soon. Columbiana County, it probably occurs pretty quickly, but it may take a little bit longer once you're up closer to the 224 corridor in Mahoning and Lawrence counties. This kind of winds down as just a little bit of piddling rain and piddling snow. Then Friday evening, really nothing impactful late in the day. Here's a look at our latest computer model spread. Now, this is for the Youngstown Warren Airport, but this will be pretty representative of kind of the northern tier of our viewing area, but maybe not quite up to northern Trumbull, northern Mercer, more towards southern Trumbull, southern Mercer, maybe even down into the Youngstown area. Each colored line, a different computer model. As has been the case all along, the NAM is just not playing ball. It just changes things over to rain very quickly. That remains kind of an outlier. We have a pretty good model consensus, though, between here and here, 1 to 2 inches, and not coincidentally, that's what our forecast is. As we can look at this from a odds perspective, with the highest odds of up to a couple of inches, of course, the farther north you are. Overall, the highest odds, up near 80 to 100%, across the northern tier of PA, up towards Bradford and into the southern tier of New York as well. In our area, again, the odds very low for more than 2 inches once you're down towards the Ohio River, and then gradually those odds increase as you head off to the north. That's the, kind of the one way of looking at it, odds-wise. As far as our actual forecast goes, I think there's going to be some places that try to get a little more than 2 up into Geauga County, parts of Ashtabula and Crawford counties in PA. But once you're down into our true television viewing area, I think a slushy inch or 2 is going to do it for a lot of Trumbull and Mercer counties. You can kind of think of this as basically around and north of Interstate 80. Once you get south of I-80 and down into Youngstown and down into Ellsworth and Canfield and Boardman, Poland, Struthers, North Lima, down into Salem, Columbiana, I'd be surprised if you saw more than an inch in those places. And then especially once you get down towards Route 30 and down towards the Ohio River, everyone down there should see less than an inch, maybe even just a trace at best. Down towards East Liverpool, Glenmore, Calcutta, and over towards Salineville as well, with that transition over to rain. Now, as this snow gets underway around mid-morning, in some places, especially in our northern viewing area, air temperatures may still be around 34 to 35. Some of the colder road surfaces, think bridges, elevated surfaces, may be cold enough that a little slush will accumulate at first and make things slick on anything untreated, but I think that's a brief period. I think as we go towards midday into the afternoon and we're into mid-April and that incoming solar radiation still makes a difference even though it'll be cloudy, I think the roads are generally just going to be wet throughout the area. And so while there'll be some reductions in visibilities, I'm not expecting a high impact day on our roads. In case you missed this, I've shown this a few times over the last couple of days. 30-year average date of the last accumulating or measurable snow at the Youngstown Warren Airport is April 8th, but it has occurred as late as May 15th in 2016. A few dates later than this week, including a couple of years ago in 2018. As you get into the second half of April and past what is usually tax day, it gets harder and harder to get accumulating snow around here in the second half of April. So it's no surprise that there's not many dates on this list past April 15th. But yeah, we're going to see accumulating snow in parts of our area tomorrow, and I think that's it for the year. I think that'll be it for measurable snow in this year's snow season. Better things to come over the weekend, a chilly but brighter day Saturday, and then a warmer day on Sunday as high pressure slips off to our south and east. We'll get into that return flow, clockwise flow around high pressure in the northern hemisphere. And a southerly breeze will send temperatures into the upper 50s. Might be a couple of showers before the day is through. Now, next week is not going to be super warm, but it's going to be better than this week. Keep in mind our average next week, our average high is in the lower 60s. We'll be at least closer to that. We'll be in the ballpark from Tuesday on especially. And we might even see middle and upper 60s by next weekend. Kind of 8, 9, 10 days from now, might finally see some bona fide warmth in our area. All right, long range thoughts here, 8 to 14 day outlook, kind of going with what I just mentioned about next weekend. I think we're going to get into a pattern that's more favorable for some pleasant spring weather instead of the 40s. The biggest departures from average probably will be around the coasts from the southeast over towards the west coast, but I think late April is going to be a heck of a lot better than this week has been. The National Weather Service put out their 3-month outlook today covering the months of May, June, and July. And a suggestion there that around the coasts, the highest odds of warmer than average temperatures being the rule during that 3-month period. And while we're not in the highest odds, I still suspect late spring and early summer will end up coming out in the wash as warmer than average. And as far as precipitation goes, elevated odds of a wetter than average period for a lot of the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes region, the lower Great Lakes region, and down into the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. Does that mean we're going to have a repeat of flooding problems and that sort of thing? No, not necessarily, but precipitation overall will probably come out as above average late this spring and early this summer. All right, long video tonight, lots to talk about. Thanks for hanging with me on this evening's edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Get updates anytime on the Storm Tracker 21 app, and I'll have an update on the TV side coming up tonight on 21 News at 11 p.m. Have a great Thursday night.